For real this time. We are live. I am here with Elle Anderson, one of my most creative and experienced investors in the short-term rental space. One of the most phenomenal projects I've ever heard of, let alone seen or been a part of. And we're going to get into her latest investment, which is coming to life as we speak. And I was grateful to be a part of the acquisition. And now we are running rogue, but we have some other cool topics that are on my mind for the rest of the day today, including how we got here. Elle has phenomenal experience, and then also mindset. We both love to study mindset, and I'm going to bring some of that into the conversation as well. Elle, welcome to the Mike Stone Show.
Thank you. And thank you for helping me with this acquisition. I like
it. It was a wild experience. That was honestly crazy, and I know you said you've been through a little bit crazier, but today, that was the wildest acquisition I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, that was a lot of hiccups.
A lot.
It's all that matters. You kind of
That's right.
That now, that's all that matters. But yes,
I can't forget about that. I think, and that, to your point about everything manifestation, we were both absolutely locked in on the outcome. We were getting this deal done, come hell or high water. Hell came, high water came, and we still got the deal done. But let's go through it from the very beginning. I remember we started discussing this deal at least when we found it on AirDNA, and it showed that it was going to do $383,000 a year with a $1.1 million listing price. It had a 4-bed, 2-bath in the front and a 4-bed, 2-bath in the back, or was it 4-4 each?
Mm-hmm.
4-2 each?
Yep, they're both 4-2s.
8 for all day. And so then we quickly found AirDNA's data was not entirely accurate. Yeah, you made the point about parent-child listings.
Yes. AirDNA, well, just a few precautionary things. One is, if they don't have like at least 30 reviews, then I don't count those numbers.
I agree.
But when you have a parent-child listing, so you have, in this case, it's the 2 houses together, the 8 bedrooms, versus the child listing, which is 4 bedrooms. Oftentimes, AirDNA, since they're just scrubbing data, they will see that it's booked, but they will count the parent income. So it kind of increases the real income. So just something to be aware of.
That's right. And when we ended up getting the true financials, because this was an active STR when we took over, it showed 270 instead of 380. But that was still fantastic. I mean, at a 1.1 acquisition, we were still at 25 to 27% gross ROI, which for our listeners, gross ROI is revenue compared to purchase price. It's a little bit more of an objective measure that allows us to compare across markets. Elle, for example, has experience in multiple markets, and then any other investors who are deciding, do I want to be in Williams, Arizona? Where even is that? You know, you want to look objectively to see, do we go dive deeper into then second most favorite analysis is cash on cash, which is a little bit more bespoke, tailored to the specific investor. How much cash are you putting in compared to how much cash do you expect back net? And so that's the 2 main measures. There's obviously a lot, and each investor has their own preferences, but those 2 are my favorite statistics to start analyzing a deal and decide, is it worth more time?
I personally have to have a minimum of 20%.
You know, when you were talking to me, you were saying 30. I remember that number 30 is how we got in touch.
It is 30. 20 to start, but I've got to get it up to 30, right? So it's got to have that potential to increase.
So, perfect
30,
segue.
30 is my number, but when I'm looking at what they've already done, 20 I will look at.
Right. Yeah, well, I think you were just setting the bar high for me to make sure that I only brought you the best of the best. But that's a perfect segue. And I did. And here we are.
You did.
But this deal does get better with everything you're doing to it. So if you want to start with the pictures or you want to start with the story, either way, but I would love to get into your vision for this property. And then we could also circle back to, a little bit more of the details of the crazy acquisition. Let's also throw a shout out to our good friend Bill Faith and Kenny Bedwell, and newly we found out Yash Bhatt, or some very high-profile investors in our space who all wanted this deal, and they weren't the only ones. I had other people texting me while you and I were doing what we were doing about how badly they wanted to acquire this property out from under us. Do you want to tell the story about the inner circle and how you had to box out Bill Faith?
Yes. Well, first of all, you sent this to me on New Year's Day, so which is actually, my husband and I met on New Year's Day, so it kind of has special, but probably you and I were the only ones working on New Year's Day. we were trying to get it under contract. We were negotiating. I mean, it had been on the market a long time, like 5 months.
Right.
So we were negotiating with the seller, who was not very negotiable.
Thank you for not using profanity on the Mike Stone show.
And
he was a challenge.
So we didn't quite have it under contract. And then I was on a call with Bill Faith, and I told him that we were like just about ready to sign, right? And I think we were down to like fighting over the last 20 grand, which they had come back and raised it. Like we'd already agreed, but hadn't signed. And then the seller came back and raised it like 20 grand. And Bill's like, I was just getting ready to put an offer on this tomorrow with Kenny Bedwell. And I'm like, he's like, you better get that under contract tonight. So it cost me an extra 20 grand, but I got it under contract.
That's so funny. I remember, and I'll respect to Bill for his rule. I know his rule in the inner circle is that if you take a property from somebody else who brings it to the table, that you will be ousted from the group and blasted on social media. So Bill honored his own rule, and I'll give him credit where it's due.
Yes, he did.
But I remember he also said that he was on a very long phone call. I don't remember how long, but it was over an hour that he was on a phone call either with Kenny or with an agent. I don't think it was an agent, because then he ended up trying to work with me as an agent, which I appreciated.
Yeah,
about
they
figuring
done
out the
whole
acquisition.
pro forma. I mean, like they were literally ready to make an offer.
Yeah, he was like, is that the one that was a convenience store? Yeah, that's the one. And just, I mean, fantastic deal. I'm glad to get the validation from other high-profile investors like Bill and Kenny, and even Yash Bhatt, who is another investor in Sedona that, you know, looked at the pro forma and liked the numbers and just gave us some confidence going into it that this property would perform at least as well as we were anticipating. Although, maybe that's our perfect segue. You're taking this property to a whole new level. So you want to introduce maybe the property, some pictures, and we go through what we had when we got there. And then certainly we got to get into what you're doing. Okay,
so it is, this is the third closest Airbnb, I'm just calling it Airbnb, I know, short-term rental, to the Grand Canyon. And the distance, it's like 25 minutes. Everything else is about an hour or an hour and a half away. So it's a really fantastic location, and it also is a fantastic property. Okay, so this is what it looked like when I purchased it. It was the original Grand Canyon outpost, so it was not a convenience store. It was a little insulting, but it was a...
He said it, not me.
They sold Western items and authentic Indian items. And so when this was redone from a store, actually a lot of the items were incorporated into the design. So it has a really cool design. It's got a gigantic bison head. We have authentic Hollywood cowboy mannequins. So
that's right. Which, if you look too closely, are very creepy. But
they're a little creepy. But they are, I mean, once you tell
but it's
the
cool.
story,
It's authentic.
they seem less creepy and more cool. But
agreed.
They have scared a few children. So this is what it's going to look like. We're updating it to. Also, we probably should talk about how many units. So there were 2 houses on it. And then during due diligence, I met with the county, and they informed me that we can have up to 12 units on it. So that was a major plus. And when I decided to start building out the property to what it's going to be, this was the second house that existed, and this is what it's going to look like. We're going to update it, make it look more. I'm going for the Cowboy Lux. That's what I've named it.
Cowboy Lux.
Cowboy Lux design.
I like that. That's a new design theme. That's perfect.
Yes.
Definitely a little bit more modern. Definitely a lot more attractive aesthetically.
Yes.
The design is way better. Which honestly, it's not so massively different, but the details that you are incorporating from a design perspective are going to matter. It looks that luxe. It looks that outcome that you're hoping for.
Yes. And then we're adding, this will be like the centerpiece for the mini resort. So this is a heated saltwater pool with a window and decking, and it has this very cool, very expensive dome. Oh, and the name of the pool is the High Noon Lagoon. So.
And we got there from a vote of how many names? And we had 4 options, and you put it out to the public for a vote?
Yes. Yep, and High Noon Lagoon won.
Love it.
We didn't vote on the no horses allowed, but I just put that right out there.
And let's not skip the detail. We mentioned expensive, but you're importing this pool and dome from China to make it less expensive. Just so smart.
Yes.
Making little Chinese friends.
So I've acquired 27 businesses over the years, and so one of the businesses I had is we sourced product from China. So I do say, if people don't know what they're doing, be very, very careful. Like, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have someone in China that you trust that will go and inspect and make sure that you're using a top tier factory. So
is that for like a quality control thing, so you didn't get cheap products?
Yeah, quality and just communication and making sure you know what you're actually getting. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and there's a lot of horror stories out there when people have tried to buy from China without the knowledge. So
good to know.
Yeah. So I mean,
experts only.
My guy goes to the factory, like, I think he went 4 or 5 times during the pool build and the dome build. And he's actually, which the typhoon is hitting China right now, southern China. And he's in northern China looking at house factories for me right now. So
wow.
Pretty cool.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I know. So this is the house. So this is the house that I want built. This is, here's our naming thing. So we need your help. So here are the choices for the name. It's either the Shackin' Up Shack or the Love Shack. So you get to vote.
You can either comment below this video, or DM L at WishTreeBnB, at WishTreeBnB, or you could DM me at Mike Stone Group, and I will convey the message. Whoever you follow. But you should follow both of us, because Wishtree is fun to follow. There's a lot of cool properties. Maybe later we'll get into some of your other properties as well. One is for sale, and it's a fantastic deal, and people should buy it from you. But now we are focusing on Williams just for the moment. But yeah, let us know in the DMs or the comments. Should it be the Shackin' Up Shack or the Love Shack? I've casted my vote, but I'm not saying on this podcast what my vote was. So
I'm calling it, are you team naughty or team nice?
I like that.
So far one of those names is definitely winning. But
oh, really?
Yes. But there's been a surge for the other name, so I thought of one name and my husband thought of the other, so it'll be interesting.
I'll have to ask you offline who's winning.
Yeah, who's winning?
I don't want to sway the audience.
Yeah.
We'll see what the final winner is if they follow Wishtree.
Yes. And so then when I bought it, I didn't even know this, because this is a back part of the property just where they had a storage shed for extra toilet paper and stuff like that.
We barely walked that part of the property. Like, we spent almost no time back there.
It's all fenced off, or it was fenced off. And so I noticed when I was out there after I bought it that, oh, hey, there's a view. And so I realized, hey, if I get elevated, it's going to be even a better view. So this is what it's going to look like from the top floor of, I'll just call it the shack. So it's either the Shackin' Up Shack or the Love Shack. So the bedroom's up here, and that's what you're going to be able to see. So
that's so cool. And we were thrilled about that because of all the things that went on during the due diligence period, which was a lot. I mean, that even not just due diligence, the rest of the whole process under contract, we're going back and forth. Seller was a challenge. Lender was a bigger challenge. Maybe we get into that before the end of this tale. But how rare is it that you find out you have fantastic views after you close? That doesn't happen, and that was not incorporated into price. I don't even think seller knew.
No, I'm sure they did not. No.
They certainly didn't advertise it that way, and if they're only using, the ugly shack or the shed, we should say, that was not in excellent condition and just toilet paper in stores, they weren't promoting that for guests, like, hey, enjoy this mountain view. But now I love that you're getting this vantage
because the current two
point.
houses don't have this view,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
So, but the new ones are going to have this view. So
Absolutely.
here's one of the other, a little bit larger house. So the Shackin' Up Shack or the Love Shack is just like a 1-bedroom, and this will be a 2-bedroom. And then
Zoom into this just so they could see it.
the
If
what?
you could zoom into this one so you could see
this
exactly
one.
what's
Okay,
going on
so
here.
this is somewhere
Yeah.
else. I think there's only one in the country where the bed is on rollers and rolls out so you can see the stars. And I was
That's so
like,
cool.
because Flagstaff, which is nearby, is I think it's the first international dark city. So they have very
cool.
strict limitations on their lighting at night so that people can see the stars. So
Right. It's true in Sedona as well.
yes, so this is part of the vision, but not confirmed yet. And
That would be part of
I am borrowing this idea from someone else. This is not my original idea. This is their place.
That's brilliant. But now this rolled out bed, so you can be indoor or outdoor, is not in the Love or Shackin' Up Shack. It's going to be in the second one. You're saying the 2-bedroom, right? It's going to have one of the bedrooms has this option.
I'm not sure yet. It'll be
Okay.
either in a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom. Probably the 1-bedroom.
Okay.
Probably in a 1-bedroom.
Very cool.
And then here's the larger model. This one can have 3 or 4 bedrooms, and still has that cowboy luxe vibe. And then one of the houses is going to be jail because that's just fun. I told
That's
Mike
awesome.
when we have the opening party, like that's where Mike's going to stay in jail.
Of all the options, I was hoping for the Love Shack or the Shackin' Up Shack,
Love Shack, okay.
but no, I got ousted. I'm going right to the jail.
Yeah, right to
Noted.
Jail's going to be popular. I just know it's going to be. So this looked a little rustic, so I recreated more cowboy luxe type jail, but still jail.
White collar jail, Lux jail.
Yeah, so this one will be probably a 2-bedroom because I imagine it's going to be a lot of kids that want to stay in the jail.
I agree.
And then these are the 2 options for our game room. So it's this one. It's going to be larger than this. And then have a rooftop deck that is going to have that view as well. And here's the second option. So this will be 2 stories plus the rooftop deck, I think.
So we can get a vote on that as well. Do you like the black option here with the saloon at the bottom, the game room up top, and I imagine a pool table probably on that second level with then a roof deck just for the views at the top? Or the one right before that, the white with the windows on either side, and this one I guess only 1 level. I mean, so you know where my vote is.
Well, it's got the rooftop deck, yeah. So that's going to be in phase 2. So I haven't secured that exactly yet. And then, of course, we're going to have a huge cowboy fire. I mean, you got to have a fire pit. You got to tell the camp stories around here. So, and this will be a very large one for the whole resort, so everybody can come together and
That's beautiful.
Yeah, share some stories.
And you're keeping, because right now the front house, Grand Canyon Outpost, and the second house, Kit Carson, both have their own fire pits. You're going to keep both of those, and this will be the 3rd large community one. Excellent.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yep. And then this is the Outpost Observatory. So this is, a dome. This is not something you sleep in. This is something you go to just to look at the stars. So
Will there be a bed in there?
there will be like a day bed type thing. So something
Cool.
like this.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's you can relax and stuff, but it's not something you can sleep over in.
Right.
And then we allow dogs, so we got a dog stick library, of course.
I love that.
Canines happy.
That's great.
And then we're going to have some outdoor showers and hot tubs. I think every unit is going to have its own outdoor shower and its own hot tub. And then I designed this. This is, if you know what love locks are, if you know the bridge in France has kind of made it the most popular, where you go and you put your padlock on and you have your name and your significant other's name, and you lock in your love. So the bridge in France is so popular that it is collapsing. So they had to.
No way.
Yes, and they have these all
Engineers
over the
didn't
world.
plan for that. That's
Yes.
crazy.
They have these all over the world now. So I designed this. This is going to go out front, and these bars are going to be farther apart, so everybody can put in their padlocks on there. And it's going to be not just for guests, because it's going to be out front. So anybody going by, or excursion from the Grand Canyon can come and put their padlocks on the cowboy heart.
That's awesome. Which I'll give you a quick shout out for the brilliant
marketing.
marketing.
For a foundry or someone to make this, if anybody out there knows of anybody, preferably in Phoenix area.
For the heart, or for this? You don't mean
For the
caboose
heart.
yet? Yeah.
For the heart. Yes.
Very cool.
And then for one of the units, we're going to have an actual caboose. So we're getting it, we're restoring it, and that's going to be an option to stay at. And I think this is going to be in the first round. So in the first round, there's going to be the Shackin' Up Shack, or the Love Shack, and this caboose, as well as one of the other houses. So that is going to be starting shortly.
I
And
love
then,
it.
oh well, you don't need to see. There's just, I think we'll have a TP on the site somewhere. And then these were just some of the other ideas. This is kind of my cowboy luxe mood boards vibe here.
Which, credit to you, Elle. Elle is the most advanced ChatGPT user that I know. I think they are best friends, and certainly one of your best employees.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Because I'm like an idea person, so I have a lot of ideas, but I'm not an super organized person. And so, like, even just planning, especially, like, when you hire a contractor, they kind of, like, take care of everything. But when you're ordering things from China, and, like, you have to have something, like, you have to have the concrete pad and the propane and all these little details. So I just get ChatGPT, like, hey, you're going to be my project manager here. Tell me what I got to do. Tell me my timeline. And then it keeps track of everything for me. And I'll just be like, okay, tell me what I got to do today.
That's awesome. Do you use the project folders on the left side?
Yes.
Excellent. Because your husband, John, is very organized, but probably not to the extent of what you need for these billions of facets and the art and everything else that you're bringing to life through chat.
Yeah, he was. He was a corporate project manager, and now he is retired. And so I find that when he works for me, he doesn't quite take his job as seriously. He is on me.
He's getting replaced by chat.
So, yes, but
That's so
no,
funny.
he helps out on certain things. So.
Excellent. So tell me about the timeline now, because this is a lot going on, obviously, and I know you have multiple phases. And we closed in March, early March, which so now what's the anticipation for rolling everything out? And I know you got a lot going on with social media, and your marketing is fantastic, even just getting started, but we got so much more to do.
Thank you. Because we're going to be pre-selling stays too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Through Indiegogo, we're having a
What is Indiegogo?
crowdfunding.
Oh, that's right. That's what you were telling me about. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yes. So people can get a package for the Shackin' Up Shack or caboose. So that's going to be starting in a couple months. The pool is actually the first thing that's happening, and that is starting in October. So the pool
Excellent.
should be up and ready to swim in November. So, and it's a
Excellent.
year-round heated saltwater pool. So it's going to be really awesome. And it's big.
That
pool,
is
so
awesome.
40 by 15.
Wow, that is big.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense when you're doing a mini resort. But one thing that's brilliant about this acquisition is because we had the 2 units live already, which are 8-4 combined, and parent-child, the 4-2s, you're able to cover your costs right now, do well right now, and hold your own while you're getting everything dialed in. That's not always easy for an investor to figure out when there's a large renovation, but also kind of goes to the value of us figuring out that. So what happened was this is both residential and commercial zoning, because we're in the Wild West and rules only sometimes apply. We don't really know. When we were going through the contract period, that was a bit of a challenge as it related to the appraisals, because we needed someone who was prepared to do both types of appraisals from the same appraiser, and lenders were nearly impossible to find. What did we go through? 54 was the number that we were saying?
54 lenders. Now, when I first started, I had no money and no experience. So I had to go to a lot. I mean, I just not only had to get lenders, but I also had to get equity partners because I didn't have any money back then. And so I'm telling you, this deal was almost as hard as back then. When I have an amazing track record now. I mean, my house in the Poconos I bought for $477,000. It did $323,000 last year in revenue.
Oh, wow.
I know.
And that's the one that's for sale, shameless plug, so we'll touch on that property before the end of this one. Someone should buy that deal.
That is for sale for $2 million. So
that's a fantastic play, fantastic exit, and much deserved.
Yes, so I have a
but
great
still a
track
great deal for the
record,
next guy.
and still couldn't find a lender. So one of the main things with this is that there's no water. Nobody has wells. You can't get a well
Right.
because of the volcanic plate. You can't drill through it. I mean, you can, but it's like $1 million for one house. I mean, it's not reasonable.
Not a great idea.
So everyone has hauled water. So, I mean, it's just like propane. You have a tank, and they come and they fill it, and that's your water. Like, you don't notice in the house or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You do notice when you get the bill. So, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not crazy expensive. It's for the 2 houses. It runs about $1,000 a month. Sometimes only like $800 a month. So.
I mean, that's not cheap, but at least you're going to have the opportunity to amortize
Right.
that across 12 units in the near future.
Well, no, it'll go up.
Oh, that'll go up. Yeah, actually, it's not
Marginally.
your.
So yeah. So, but I mean, for $270,000 in revenue, $1,000 a month, I'll pay it. But I think that's
Right.
one of the reasons they had trouble selling it, and it is definitely why we had trouble financing it, because
Right.
the lenders, we were using a DSCR lender, and they just all kept saying no because there was no water. It's a rural area, and what else didn't they like?
Well, they also didn't like that it's technically a duplex, but technically not. And so there were no comps. And they said we could go out 50 miles, and I think our only close comp was 49.5 miles or
You
something
found it?
like
You
that.
found it?
Yep. Oh, yeah, because they couldn't. And I was like, does any of this work? Does this work? That was mayhem. Big shout out to Kim Dawson, who is our lender on there, who pulled us from beyond the grave after trying multiple brokers, 54 lenders.
You never
It just
shared
didn't
with
stop.
Kim, by the way. She's finding out just right now.
What's that?
The 53 other lenders said no. Like, she
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Right. Oh my God, that was brutal. But she found us a guy who was willing to lend. Oh, and it was super rural. So the fact that it was kind of a duplex, but kind of not.
Yeah.
And
Commercial,
nobody.
residential.
Commercial and residential zoning, right? And needed an appraiser who could do that. There was only one guy who was able to do that, and he was retired, so we had to import a guy from, I don't remember where he came from, but a local, but not that immediately local kind of a city. Maybe Flagstaff or Sedona.
Yes.
I don't remember where
the
he came
first
from.
time, once we finally had a lender that said yes, which we had extended closing.
Yeah.
But when we finally
Oh.
found a lender that said yes, then they put out, I've never heard of this, they put out the order for the appraisal. Usually appraiser picks it up like right away, like that day or the next
Right.
day. No, we went 2 weeks. No one picked it up.
Right.
And so finally they're like I guess there's different appraisal groups. So
Yep.
they took it back, and then they gave it to another group, and then finally somebody picked it up.
And I remember too, we were talking with, I don't remember if it was Kim or if it was the prior broker, but somebody was coaching me through how you wanted me to go up to the house and schmooze with the appraiser, which I was more than happy to do. But also they sometimes get sensitive of, hey, this is my job. I'm good at this. You're not even trained.
Yes.
Why would you send me comps? Why would you tell me what to do? And they don't want to hear from you. So I think it was Kim who was kind of coaching me through how to effectively schmooze without overstepping. And basically what her advice was to make recommendations as if they were the expert of like, hey, would this work? Hey, I don't know any better, but could we look at this? And then just be my charming self and then combine those two.
And it worked.
And it worked. He was a very nice guy. Charming wife often works. I'll say that. But he was a very nice guy.
The lenders, they can't talk to the appraisers. So,
right, which is new. Actually, that was.
Brokers.
They can't talk to the mortgage brokers anymore. It used to be allowed. I think it was 2008 because it's something to do with people were bribing. Yeah, people were bribing. Mortgage brokers were bribing appraisers. Because in every industry, there's somebody who's got to do it, surreptitiously to do the wrong thing. And so that got unveiled when the housing crisis happened. And so there was new laws enacted. I don't remember. I don't think it was Fannie Freddie, but maybe it was. There's some new law that came into play where now the broker's not allowed to talk to the appraiser directly. But I can. And so as long as I didn't offend anybody, which I delicately did not offend anybody.
Yes.
But no, he was cool. He was actually appreciative.
Notoriously known for being very sensitive
and egotistical, yeah. But this guy was great because he didn't take it that way. I think it was kind of just funny how much was going wrong that I was catching him up on the tail of the 60-day, 45-day close, whatever it was, and I think around a little over 45. But once he saw how challenging it was and how few comps existed, he was open to just having the conversation like, wow, this is wild. How did we get here? And I had to, again, a little bit pumping his tires, but I'm like, you're the only person that we could have used to do residential and commercial, because the other guy who could have done it, who's got a great reputation, he retired almost right before our deal. So that wasn't helpful. And he didn't have recommendations for us. Nobody else was prepared. And so he was open to the discussion. So when we found the one that was 49.5 miles away in Flagstaff, he was like, yeah, that'll fly. It's like, great.
Fantastic.
Sounds like a plan. And so I think appraisers are also very much on the side of making transactions go forward. Like they don't want to come in just under value and cause headaches. So unless it's, absolutely provable that they're correct. So the fact that we came in and appraised at value was convenient, but I think everybody was rowing in the same direction, it seemed like, which was nice.
It came in a little bit above, right?
Yeah. A little bit of equity in there.
Yes. No, that is not true. I've had quite a few appraisers that came in below value on me before.
Really?
Yes.
That you just got crushed? So how did you handle those situations? Did you just go back to seller if you were a buyer and vice versa and just try to renegotiate, or did you kind of ignore it and say, you know what, let's just move forward?
Well, in those situations, this might be a big surprise since I'm a savvy investor, but I am always on the selling side when that happens. when I'm buying, I don't have any problems.
Funny how that works out. That's great.
So sometimes it kills the deal. Sometimes they'll go out and get another appraisal done. So it just depends.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got through this one. This was an absolute mayhem kind of
there were quite a lot of hurdles on this one, but we did it.
But not only did we do it, now we're in a position where you have even better outcomes than we expected, because that 383 we saw on AirDNA quickly was dropped to, they showed us their real financials, and it was 270 for the prior year and 252 for the year before. So nice to see a little progress for them, but certainly not what we expected with the parent-child listing and the AirDNA data. But then, in talking to you and John at dinner a couple months after the deal, I know the new goal was at least 550, because now we can do 10 additional units, 12 total. And then the uniqueness of what you're doing. It's so special. There's nothing else like this on the market, let alone the fact that it's so close to the Grand Canyon. That's an amenity, so to speak, that no one will ever be able to recreate, and it's never going anywhere. That's the Grand Canyon. You will always have that as the reason for people to come. And what's nice about that too is it's so impossible to find housing closer. It's, like you said, everything's hour and a half away. Usually in, southern Williams, Arizona, the actual town of Williams, because you're pretty far north in Grand Canyon Junction, edge of northern Williams.
It's about
Williams
an hour drive from Williams to the South Rim.
Right. And you're at least a little over 30 minutes, right? 35 minutes closer to the South Rim, which is great. Yep. And right off of two major roads, so literally 6 million people will need to drive past you a year. And that's just going to, be a foundation that you can rely on forever. That this deal will last forever. So this is gonna be fantastic, and then the marketing that'll come from it will be very fun. So again, guys, remember to cast your votes. Let us know what you think of the names and different buildings that we went through on the pictures, and let us know what you think. But this will be unlike anything for the rest of forever. This is the coolest Airbnb on the market.
But I mean, I gotta tell you guys, I mean, this deal would not have closed with another agent. I mean, Mike.
Thank you.
Went above and way above and way beyond, like so many times.
Thank you, Elle, for saying that. I appreciate it. But you know what? I truthfully enjoyed it.
Not all agents like my crazy ideas. Like, hey, why don't you go meet with the appraiser? This is run the comps, do their work for them, but be nice about it.
Right. I was happy to do it. I love working with you, Elle, and John. It's been such a pleasure, and this is such a cool deal. Honestly, I was happy to do it. But you did say something to me that we were talking right before we hopped on as well. I was so tunnel vision of I'm closing this deal no matter what. And you said something after the fact of like there's some vibration in the quantum that we will tap into where this deal closes, and that was it. Nothing else matters. And if we both, honestly, we felt it, we thought it, that was it. There was no hesitation that we are getting this to close. It's just a matter of how. So when things were going crazy, it was just another obstacle that we had to figure out, but it wasn't ever going to be something that would stop us. Both. And that was, I think, what made it feasible, as wild as it was, because honestly, a less formidable investor, and thank you for saying, but truthfully, a less formidable agent might not have been so dedicated to getting to close when the first 53 lenders say no, and the zoning doesn't make sense, and the mortgage brokers that were working before Kim are yelling at us. And we're like, I don't care. We're figuring this out. This is going to transact. So we got there.
Yes, we did. Yes. But that's how I've gone from $5 during the Great Recession to
that's right.
Success. It's just, and how I've manifested anything is just like there's a billion possibilities, and I just focus on the one I want, and like that is the only possibility that can happen. And when anything else happens to seemingly to the contrary, I'm just like, well, it's just on the path to get there. That's what I think. I don't think that it's not going to happen or whatever. I'm just like, I'm here and I know I'm going there, so it has to be on the road. That's the only option.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. This is the perfect transition, because I wanted to get into this with you. You are among the top mindset students that I've spoken with. I know you love to study it and practice it. I should say practitioner, more so even than student, but I know you're continually learning. I'd love to know who you study, but before we even get into that, actually, you mentioned that last $5. I know the story, but for the audience, and I'd love to hear it again anyway, tell us about that.
Mike mentioned the Great Recession. I was, I say lucky now, but it didn't feel lucky at the time. Had major problems during the Great Recession. And I ended up, like I had real estate, but none of it was worth more than I owed on it. So it's not all that helpful. I had to short sell my own personal home, which was something I never thought would happen. And then, so I was renting a house, I had my business, and I was literally behind on rent at both places, not just my house, but on the business. And I got down at $0 in my bank account and $5, $5, that was it. I had a $5 bill. And I just thought to myself, like, what am I gonna do? I mean, my son was like 2 years old at the time. Like, I don't even have money to buy food. Like, I really, like, for a second I was like, do I get on food stamps? Like, I don't even know, even how do you even begin to do? Like, that's never been my life. And I just said, no, like, that is not going to be me. So I got my son, I got in my car, I put him in his car seat. I drove to the nearest gas station, and the first man I saw, he was the first person I saw, it happened to be a man. I just gave him my last $5 and said, hey, have a great day. And he was like, oh, thank you. And at that point, like, something just shifted in me. And I just knew that I couldn't worry anymore about all these things happening, that I just had to focus on creating a better life. And that's what I've done ever since. And now we own multi-million-dollar houses in several places in the U.S. and live in California with beautiful ocean view. And things got a lot better. But
That's
it was
so
definitely
beautiful.
just a shift. And actually, this is how the universe works. I gave it away, no expectation. I just said, this is not going to be my life. By the time I got home, a friend of mine, who I never shared any of these problems with, a friend of mine came and had left 2 bags of groceries for me.
That's so beautiful.
I know. I was like,
That's so beautiful.
what, how? And she's like, I don't know, I just had a feeling. And,
That's
things
amazing.
just got better and better after
What
that.
possessed you to give away your last $5? Why did you do it?
Because I was refusing to have a life like that. That wasn't going to be my life. I was just like, no, nope.
And
I
you knew
just-
something about
it's a
giving
hard
away the
no.
$5 would come back to you in a better way.
Yes. And a lot of its friends, please.
Did you study manifestation in any meaningful way up to that point?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how you knew that would be.
Yeah, yes. I didn't say I was good at it at the beginning. I did. I first learned about it from The Secret, and I studied The Secret, and all the secret teachers, I was just really full into it. But, sometimes you get off the path, and I just started worrying. That was always my problem, is I would worry. And now I look at worry as praying for things to go poorly.
Right.
I want something to go bad. No, so I try to push worry. But I was a huge worrier. And, you put that out there, that's what you get, which I had a lot of problems. And so I just said, I had manifested things before that. And after that day, when I gave away my last $5, it just something in me shifted. And so, I studied Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a lot about healing, but it's also on, just creating the life that you want, and focusing on. I love Dr. Joe. I've been to many of his retreats, but the best thing is you don't focus on only what you're trying to manifest. You focus on changing yourself to be the person that would have that.
Right.
And
that's beautiful.
That's often a huge difference, because when people
Tell
try
me.
to manifest and aren't doing it, they're doing it poorly, like I was. You think you're doing it, but you're actually creating that separation from what you want away from you. And so I think that's why, people, there's a lot of negative comments about manifesting and the law of attraction. It's just because of that. That you think you're doing it and then it doesn't show up. And it's well, you're not doing it right. So I always would look at myself and say, I know everything's coming from me. So if I'm seeing something that I don't want, then I need to change me to something that wouldn't have that would have what I do want. And so that has been, extremely helpful. But
And so that changes your behavior and how you show up.
yes, it does change your behavior, but first you have to change your thinking and your feelings. Then that changes your behavior.
Interesting.
Right.
That makes sense.
A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to manifest $1 million." It's okay, well, what are you doing? And it's oh, well, Sunday I cut coupons out all day. Okay, well, do you think somebody that has $1 million is going to cut coupons all day? Now, there are people that have $1 million that cut coupons out. There's no question about that. But it's what you think about it. So somebody could think about, well, I'm going to be, coupon queen, And I don't like coupons, okay? And if you're watching that, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just don't like coupons. I'm not using a coupon. So, it depends what your thoughts about it. So if you think, oh, I have to use coupons because I'm poor, well, then you're going to be poor. If you think, I use coupons because I'm so smart and I'm going to save $1 million by using coupons, then, that's at least on a better track. But so many people, they say what they want, this is what I want, but then all of their thoughts and actions are the opposite. They're only what they have now.
Right. And that goes to your point too about focusing on the gap.
I know this crazy realtor that went out and bought a Porsche.
Who would do such a thing? Yeah, I'll tell you that story because you mentioned it briefly, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so happy with that purchase, and I'm not a car guy. I wasn't even looking for a new car, but I had a client that I was taking around Sedona, and for whatever reason, we parked his car and he got in mine. And we were driving at $2 and $3 million buildings. He was a wealth manager in New York, very cool, very funny guy. And he was giving me advice all day of just different things to promote my service. And he goes, Mike, you're doing such a good job branding. He goes, you show up in the suit, you post on social media, do such a great job. You're showing luxury. The houses and design decks that Ava's putting together that you're posting are so complete. He goes, you've done more for me than any realtor has ever done. And I believe in you. And that's why I'm in Sedona. I want to check out these properties because I believe in you. He goes, but then you're making me get in and out of your fucking Jeep all day. And I got to hop up into this thing with big tires. If my wife was getting them back, I'd be mad. He goes, you need to complete the professionalism and the professional branding with a nice car. He goes, I don't know if it's a G-Wagon. I don't really like G-Wagons, but there's got to be something that you can drive that is on par with the level of luxury that you want to portray and embody that. And then he's not as into manifesting and studying like we are, but he also talks about becoming that person first and the universe bending around you. And so 2 days later, I bought the Porsche, and it's a beautiful car, and I am so happy in it.
And I've made. In it. It's very lovely.
Did. It is so nice. I've taken high stakes, important calls in it. I'll sometimes just go sit there and do visualizations in it because it's something about the vehicle was coming from a shop. Everything about the car in the shop has high vibrations. I feel good. It smells good. So then I sit there and I get on that level. And I'm like, I am the kind of person who drives a Porsche. That's what I drive. And that's who I am. And so I just get into that. And that's just an example, but that's me leaning into it and getting on that vibration first and let everything else come in around it. And so when I have, even this past couple weeks, I've had a similarly, not nearly as crazy as our deal, but similarly challenging closing that I'm working on a $2.9 million deal. And so multiple times I would get out of my house and I would go down to the car and I would just either go for a drive or sit in the parking lot, but I'm in the Porsche while I'm taking the call and I just feel good, and that'll pass out into how I communicate. And of course we're getting the deal done and we've gotten through all the hurdles. We should have a smooth sail to the end. I feel like we'll be great because I feel like we'll be great. Yes. And that's it. But I used to want a nice car, and then like you're saying, I was focusing on the gap. I lacked a nice car and it was something that I would get one day. And for the entire time I thought about that, I didn't have a nice car. And then I said, well, no, now I do have a nice car. And now I'm that person. And it's so much better.
One of the things is that people, it's how you think about it, right? So some people can, like you, can buy the nice car, feel it, it can elevate you, and like you just raise up to that level. But other people I've seen, will spend money on whatever it is, right? Like lots of times it's money they don't have, so it's on their credit card or whatever. And then instead of feeling that way, they're like, oh my God, I can't afford this. How am I going to pay for this? So if they're thinking that way, it's not going to work, right? So I just want to clarify that because I've seen so many people do that. So it really depends on how you're going to feel about it. So if you're going to, feel like you're $1 million every time you sit in your Porsche, then yes, do it. Then it'll come rapidly. But if you feel like, whatever, I don't deserve it, or whatever some things people think, or how am I going to pay for it, or all these things, then that's not the path for you.
That's right. And my mindset coach actually, he helped me through the decision as well. He's like, I don't care if you get the Porsche or not, but I need to know where you're making this decision from. And he goes, understand that if you make this purchase, you're not allowed to worry about the bill. He goes, the type of person who drives a Porsche does not care about the monthly payment. That's not the concern of somebody who drives a Porsche.
No.
So you're not even allowed to think about it. So, okay, that's it.
Yes.
No, I don't. This conversation also reminds me of a quote that I love. I just pulled it up to get it right. It says, "I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty score. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task." It's about what you're thinking, and it's about what you're feeling when you're doing your prayer or when you're making your decision. And then now, when I'm in that car, I'm not thinking about what it costs. It's just not a part of my mindset. When I'm thinking about a deal I'm trying to get done, it's not about, like when we were talking about our deal, it's not about what could go wrong. It's about what I have to do to solve for the things so that it goes right. That is the only possible outcome.
Exactly.
When did you know that studying manifestation would be so important to your investing? It sounds like it was before the $5 story. It's, when did it start becoming very important to you?
Well, I mean, The Secret came out in the end of 2006.
Okay.
And before that I had been told I could never have a child. And so I learned The Secret. I actually manifested my husband, the love of my life, in 10 days. That's a true story.
I know that story. I don't know the child part of the story.
Oh yeah. So before
Feel
this,
free
I
to
had
tell
been
both.
married. I had been married before, and my husband was an alcoholic. And I said, it's me or the booze. And he, without missing a beat, not even thinking about it. Now, I thought for sure he'd pick me. No, he said, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out."
Oh, I didn't know that detail of that story.
Yeah.
I knew the good part when John shows up. That's crazy.
So, but that, now I look back at it, I mean, that match was not a good match.
What a blessing.
That was not a matchmaker match. So, but when we were married, we were having difficulties, and so we went to the doctor, and I was told I couldn't have children. So years before, I'd had some surgery and stuff that caused that. But then I was trying to manifest having a child with my husband now, and it wasn't working. And I just said, you know what? And sometimes this is the best way. Like if you're so attached to something, you're keeping it away, right? And so you're just
I struggle with
focused
that.
on not having it, but wanting it. So I
Right.
was just like, okay, it's okay. If I don't have children, it's going to be okay. And then as soon as I kind of let go and forgot about it, then I got pregnant. And so that's
why. And it's amazing how the universe works, whether it was your mind relaxed, your body relaxed, whatever it was, that you just went into a more peaceful state. Next thing you know, you get exactly what you want.
Yes. Yep.
That's beautiful.
So I started, as a student of manifestation in the end of 2006. And my son was born in 2009. And then, I was good at manifesting in some areas and just not good in other areas. And so I think one of the big mistakes I made during the Great Recession is I just, listened to the news and like everything's, everyone's losing money in real estate, and I had a lot in real estate, and so I just let that affect my thinking too much. And so, and then having a child and, worrying about how to provide for him just added to my worry. And so I got a little off track. But once I gave away that $5, I mean, literally something changed in me. Like you don't have any food in your house, and you have a baby, and you're giving away your last $5. I mean, it's a little crazy. Right. All right,
it's a lot crazy. It's a lot crazy.
But I just knew that there was something better for me. I just knew in my heart that was not going to be my life. And so, things got
The way you say it, it sounds like you shifted from focusing on externalized any sort of influence to internal influence, which is the whole point of manifestation in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you this: what is two ways I could ask the question? However you want to approach it is cool. But I would love to know either the best advice that you've ever received, or if you could go back and talk to your 20-year-old self, what kind of advice would you give yourself to help people get started in manifestation?
I would say the best advice is, I mean, it's twofold. It's being able to discern when you are really feeling it and embodying it before it happens, and when you just want it and you're keeping it away, right? So it's a little shift, but it makes all the difference in the world. So
tell me about that, because I struggle with that, where there's something that I want so bad, and it
Yes.
does sometimes keep it away, because
Yes.
sometimes I'll either focus on the gap of I don't have it yet,
Right.
or I'm trying to cling to it so hard, like I
okay,
gotta
so
get this.
what is it? Something you want?
Let's say the outcome of a real estate deal, just to keep it relatable to the podcast.
Okay, so I just focus on like the podcast after, like there, whoever you sold it to, Joe Schmo, there you have him on your podcast. Visualize the podcast, like, because you're going way beyond that point, right? So
Right.
if you make that so real, then the only possibility is that deal has to close before you have the podcast, because otherwise there'd be no podcast, right? So I try to focus on something farther in the future. So I'll give you.
That's very interesting. Go
a good
for
story.
it.
So when we moved to Orlando, we were looking for like a 5,000 square foot house, and they're not that common in Orlando, and so we looked in, but we finally found one, and I can't remember all the exact details now, but I know my prior house hadn't sold, so my lender said, no, we can't close on this house until your house sells, and so when the sellers of the house in Orlando found out, like, the deal died, like deader than dead. And so I was just like, no, like I love that house. Like, I would just picture sitting in my bed in the house and my view there. And I just like would visualize it so closely that I just knew it was going to happen. And literally within 24 hours, I had the keys to that house.
Wow.
Yes, it was just, the deal was dead. So then my realtor called me and said, hey, I'm going to try to get them to see if they'll lease it to you until your house closes and you can close. I'm like, okay, that'd be great. Like, I don't know why you didn't think about that before. I don't know why I didn't think about that before. But anyway, yes, do that. They had 2 other offers, right? So they didn't have to choose us. So he comes back and he says, okay, yep, they agreed to it. You're going to have the lease tomorrow morning. You sign the lease, and then at 5 o'clock you can come pick up the keys. So literally within 24 hours, I had the keys to that house.
Wow. That is so crazy cool.
Things can happen really, really fast. In fact, when we were looking at houses in California, we, so it's my husband, my son, and I. And we all have different wants. Like, I wanted to have a walkable city. Like,
Okay.
I don't, if any of you know Winter Park in Florida, it's gorgeous. It's upscale. It's so nice. It's walkable. There's shops. There's nice restaurants. It's just ideal, except that it's hot and humid. And so I'm like, I want that, exactly that, but in California. And so we started looking, and that's a little harder to find than I realized. So, because, California's older, so there's a lot of older, like, we looked at Oceanside, California, which is up and coming. And the up parts are fantastic. It's those coming parts that are a little sus, right? So, anyway, we're looking and looking, and we can't, one likes it, another one doesn't like it, to try to make all 3 of us happy. So I wasn't, for some reason, I was totally unattached to this in any way. And so I just said, hey, I want a house that all 3 of us fall in love with. Absolutely fall in love with. And then I just kind of actually forgot about it. And then my husband's like, oh, we're going to go look at this house. So I was looking on Zillow, and then I found this other house, and I was like, hey, this house is fantastic. And I sent it to my husband, and he's like, because he was in charge of doing all the house looking and everything. And he's like, this is fantastic. He's like, why didn't I see this before? He looked on Zillow. It was listed 2 hours before. So we saw it the next day, got the house. No, we're here. We live here.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's the one you're in?
Yeah, that's the one we're in.
Oh, that's fantastic.
An amazing, an absolute stunning view of the ocean, which wasn't really even on my list, but now I feel like I can't live without it. So,
that's gorgeous.
Special off the count. Very upscale Lantern Village in Dana Point. It's lovely, really lovely.
So do you believe that with practice you can get better at manifestation? Sounds like at one point you weren't that excellent, and now you're pulling houses, the other house and this house, out of thin air, out of formless substance.
Of course.
Do you feel like you get better at it? How do you get better at it? Practice?
I got better at it by really focusing. Like when I don't get what I want, like I really look, I just, you know, everybody else wants to have every excuse. It's the economy, it's this, it's, you know, they don't have water, nobody would lend there. Like there's 1,000 million excuses, right? But I always look and say, no, like it's me. Like I'm the one actively creating this reality, and I can create whatever I want. So if I'm getting something I don't want, which still occasionally happens when my husband doesn't act in a way that I particularly enjoy, I think, okay, what am I doing that will cause me to experience this? And so I shift that, and that is how I've gotten very, very good at it.
And so how do you know what it is that you're doing, your behavior, your thoughts, certainly your feelings? How do you identify what needs to change and how to change it?
Any thought or feeling that you don't feel happy about, right? So just being happy, like that's the other, you asked me what advice I would tell my younger self. I gave you the first piece. The second piece is just be happy all the time. Like, I mean, I think I used to go through life like not happy with, you know, everything, so many things. And so, not that I was, you know, a particularly unhappy person compared to everyone else. It's just that everyone's like that.
Right.
You know?
Well, when you're stressed, you're focused on the external, like we talked about. When you're happy, for no reason at all, that's purely internal. You're just creating your thoughts and deciding that you're going to be happy.
Yes, and the third thing is I just send it love. Having a problem with somebody, I send it love. I send them love. If
Tell me about that visual.
having a problem with a deal, I send it love. If whatever it is, I just send love.
How?
And
maybe how's a mechanical question, and I'm guilty of that constantly. But tell me the way you send things love.
Okay, so this is a true story. It's rather extreme because I want to make the point. So
sure, love that.
I had a neighbor who, my son has an e-bike, and he really didn't like e-bikes. And so he would get so upset that he would literally try to hit my son off his e-bike.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I, you know, first instinct, you want to go and, you know, kill the guy, and then you want to report him to the police.
Naturally.
And then you want to, you know, light a bag of poop on his door so he, you know.
The 3 stages of how to handle it.
Yes.
Murder, police, and dog shit on fire.
Yes.
That's
my brain can move through it. But I'm like, okay, that's not going to solve the problem, right? And if I get really upset about it, it's more likely to happen. And so I just would have to, you know, relax, and I would send him love. And sometimes it helps me with people to imagine like they had a horrible childhood, right? Because then it's easier to send love, like, oh God, oh.
Poor you.
So he had a really bad childhood in my mind. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to cut this guy a break, even though he's trying to hurt my precious child. So I just wanted, so even in that instance, I think, what can I do, right? So I just sent him love, and then we would go for a long. Now, my husband and my son are not on board with this. Like they're still in the dog poop phase where they're thinking of different things they could do to this horrible neighbor. And so, then we go a few months and nothing would happen, and then it would start up again or something. He'd do something stupid, and so, but I just wouldn't allow myself, and so. He never did hit my son off or any of his friends off their bikes. He did try twice. But even, I just want to give this example because this is something like people, it'd be hard to let go, right?
Right.
But I just know, because I'm always looking at what's going to be the outcome. So if I don't let it go, then there's a much higher chance that my son is going to get hit off his bike. He's going to get hurt. Or worse. And so I was like, I don't want that outcome. So the outcome I want is everyone gets along and, he acts like a normal, decent human. And so he never really got to be decent, but at least, nothing got worse. But now in California, we have the best neighbors. Like they're so friendly and helpful and kind. And so, even when I was short selling my house, I would put in my mind, I want to make $1 million on this house. There was no possibility. I mean, right? Because, it was worth less than I owed on it and, whatever, the whole short sale thing. But I would put it out there. But then most of the time I would worry. But I would still think about that. And then when I sold my house in Orlando, I paid $800,000 for it, and I sold it for $1.85 million. So my million it took a while, but I got that million.
Not always 24 hours, but it will always come.
No. And that's the thing is, other people if you're not that good at it, and I've seen people that have been trying to manifest things for a long time, and they're still not that good at it. So I try not to put any time frames on it because when I put a time frame on it, it just makes me more nervous about it, and that keeps it away from me. So I don't put any.
That's interesting. I've heard another coach say that he does put a time. I've heard another coach say he does put a time frame on it because even if that's not the deadline for your outcome, at the very least it's a commitment to yourself that that's the amount of time you're going to focus on this and make this your priority. So for example, I have a goal card on the back of my phone, and I wrote my goals, and it's supposed to be for the end of this year. And even if it didn't come to fruition in full by the end of this year, it's a commitment to myself that for the rest of this year, that is all I focus on and that nothing else can come between me and that outcome. Do you agree or disagree?
So, again, when people have rules like this, that's why it just depends on what you're thinking about it, right? So for me, when I put a time frame on it, it stresses me out, and it makes me more in lack, okay? So if I don't put a time frame on it and then I just imagine having it now, and then whenever it shows up, that just works better for me. But it all depends on your thoughts, right? So if you're reading your goals and you're like, oh, I sold 50 million, I don't know what your goal is this year in real estate, and you read it every day and you're like, oh yeah, of course I did. Oh yeah, I did that deal and that deal and that deal. It was a great year. If that's your thought about it, then that's fantastic. So it just depends. That's why there's no hard and fast rule except for what you're going to think about it, right? So some people sense. A lot of people say, well, you have to, invest some money in whatever, a new car, a new house, a new outfit, whatever. So that's great if it changes your thinking, if you step into it like you have with your Porsche. If you don't, then it doesn't. Right? Then it can make it even worse because now you're more worried about, I just spent $1,000. I can't pay my rent, but I spent $1,000 on an outfit. Boy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends what people think. So,
And I guess that aligns directly with what you're saying about it's who you become. It's
Yes.
who you become. Does it change you, or does it just add stress or change your thoughts in a way that's the antithesis of what you set out to do? Because
exactly.
you're trying to impress the external as opposed to impress your internal.
Right. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's why not all things work for the same people, different people, because it just depends on their thinking. And even, I've had times where I've kept things from myself, like I did not manifest them, right? And other times I've manifested. So, it's just my thoughts at the time. So even the same person can have two different outcomes.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that perspective on it, because it seems like a lot of, I shouldn't be derogatory towards any particular coaches, but sometimes coaches can seem like there's a way. And the fact that there can be fluidity between people or even for that same person is helpful. And even that, just as you say, that helps me relax. It's like, all right,
Yes.
well, in this particular way, this will come to fruition, and by doing that and
It's
feeling
just a
that,
higher truth,
we just-
right? It's just a
Tell me.
higher truth. Like those coaches, like those things work for them, and they believe
Mm-hmm.
they'll work for other people. And and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. It just depends
Right.
on what the thought process of that person is. So
Right.
that's the highest truth. Like it's because your thoughts have energy, right? And that's what's attracting, is you're putting out this energy. And I almost like to think of it as like I'm making my own movie, right? So I'm making my own movie by sending out my thoughts. And if I'm worried, scared, depressed, negative things, like that's like a director saying like bad things are going to happen, right? And
Right.
so so I'm making my own movie all the time. So I'm making my movie, and I put out happiness and joy and helping people, and beautiful views of the Pacific, and all
Right.
good things, right? And so then
Absolutely.
things line up in that movie that are just really, really enjoyable.
Right. Instead of praying for the opposite of
Yes.
manifesting everything you don't want and what you need to overcome, no, just focus on it going well.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
So now I'd love to get a little bit of historical context before we wrap today on the 27 businesses that you've acquired. And I know
Yes.
one story in particular about your newspaper ad that we were talking about with Ryan Bakey not too long ago.
Yes. Oh, I did tell
That-
you. That was a long time ago, right?
And you don't have to use that
I know
specific
I look
example, but I
young.
know it's a good one.
I look young.
I know you
but
do.
Not, thank you. I appreciate
But it's the lighting.
So, yes. So, when I mentioned I started, I had no money and no experience, and thought it would be a really great idea to start buying companies, right? So, and so I had to raise not only the debt side of things, which is a lot easier, by the way, than the equity side.
I've
So
heard that.
I had to convince people to, invest in my deals and for the equity side. And so I had no connections. I knew no one. I was very shy. And I know people find that hard to believe now, but I really was very shy. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to run an ad in the Wall Street Journal. I didn't know what else to do. I think it was like $300, which back then that was significantly more money than it is now. So I spent $300. I ran this ad, and I got, I think I don't know, 58 leads, something like that. A significant amount. It was a good ad. It was, just small classified, but it's still, it was offering a 12% preferred return, which at the time was very attractive. I think now it's very attractive as well. But anyway, I got a good response, and so I would, talk to them on the phone. I'd get their information, and then this is back when you would fax. I would fax them my deal, and nobody didn't work. Nobody invested, and so I mean, it didn't help that I was 25 and I looked like I was 12. I mean, I looked really young, really, really young. And so then I ran out of money, And so I didn't have another $300 to run another ad. And so I just kept sending, different deals to all of these 58 people. And I mean, I only probably had maybe 12 that I ever actually talked to. So the other ones I would say weren't even that great at quality because, they wouldn't even get on the phone with me. So anyway, so I kept sending, and then I was able to have, a deal close, and then I got another deal done in creative financing ways where I really didn't have to have equity. But I kept sending out to these basically 12 now people. I mean, I sent it to all 58, but only 12 are really interested. And I ended up raising, I think it was like $960,000 in equity from one of the people. And it just taught me like how important follow-up is. Because if someone doesn't know you, right, and they say like you have to have the 7 touch points before someone buys, or now they're saying it's like 9 or 12 or whatever. I've heard all these things.
I've heard 16, so nobody knows what they're talking about.
Right. So that's what, they had heard from me. They saw that I had done a couple of deals. Like, it just built trust. And then they ended up investing almost $1 million with me. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. The persistence is amazing because you just didn't have other options. This was my pool. I have only these 58. I got to make it work.
Yes. Well, I didn't even think that at the time. I just didn't know what else to do.
Right.
If you had told me back then, like, one of these people is going to invest $1 million with you, Al, like, I would not have even believed you.
That's amazing.
Because it just seems so unreal. But I wasn't pushing it away. You know what I mean? I wasn't really even thinking about it. I was like, but I got another deal. I'm just going to send it out to these people, and we'll see what happens. And so follow up is, I'd rather have fewer leads and be able to follow up than more leads.
Right.
That, because most people, they don't follow up. That's one of the, in my businesses, much more so than in, short-term rentals. My prior businesses, like following up is all the difference in the world.
I love it. Anything you want to share about those businesses? I mean, 27 acquisitions from literally $0 is a massive accomplishment, and that's before we even entered the STR space.
Yes. So, I mean, I guess, who's the famous lady? I think Cody Sanchez.
Yeah.
She, talks about that. It's like, I was doing it before she even started.
Before it was cool.
Why didn't I teach people how to do it? I don't know, because it's hard. Like, it is very hard to do. So, I mean, people ask me before, like, oh, hey, will you teach me how to do this? And, acquisitions is difficult. I mean, she makes it sound easy, but there's nothing easy about it.
In what way? Is it structure? Is it finding people who are willing to transact? Is it getting on the same terms and pages of other people in the deal? What's the biggest challenge, or a few of them?
So, all those things are challenging. The biggest challenging is managing what you bought.
I did not expect that answer. Okay.
That is the biggest challenge, which I don't think they cover very well in those, but I don't know. I don't really follow, so I can't say. But by far, but it is difficult to raise the money. Like, raising the money is the hardest part of buying it. So, I'd spend a lot of my time raising money. And then, when you're trying to do deals and you don't have money, like, just surviving until the deal closes is hard.
Right.
So
right.
It's just it's a lot of things. But running the businesses by far is the hardest thing. So I went from 120 employees.
Wow.
Now that I do short-term rentals, I have 3 or 4 or 5, I guess, VAs.
And mostly VAs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I don't have any employees. They're all, and I get them all from the Philippines. Philippines is the best place.
We've gone through your hiring strategy at length. I know you are very, very robust and detail oriented. You go wide and then you go very specific.
Yes.
I remember you had
Yes.
some ruthless criteria of who gets to work at Wishtree, and even who gets to interview with you. You taught me so much about that, just managing the employees, because
Yeah.
I have always struggled with managing VAs and hiring VAs and finding talent, and I would try to outsource that to companies that were reputable, but still an absolute challenge. But even to get the privilege of a first conversation with you is a ruthless military experience.
Well, it works, because we have I think the four stages to be able to get to an interview with me. But anyway, I did hire companies to find VAs because I didn't know how to do it at the time. So I'm like, and I think I paid this company $2,000. I'm interviewing this woman who doesn't speak English well, is on her laptop in her bathroom, sitting on her toilet.
No.
I mean, not using it, but probably because she didn't have any other space. And I'm like, I paid you, you guys are, we have qualified, we go through all these, that's all BS. I'm like, let me see about doing this myself. I'm going to do a better job than that. So that's why I started doing it. And then I went all in, hey, I've got to get somebody that's really good. Not going to put up with. And now I have the best. My main lady, Victoria, is amazing. I love her.
Didn't she beat out at least a few hundred candidates?
Yes. If you go to the right job site in the Philippines and you put out an ad, you will have I think I had 600 applications in 12 hours.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, 600? So, yeah, then I started.
Started weeding out?
Yes, yes. And
I remember the criteria was, if you don't address me by my name and correctly, and then wasn't there a few steps of the things that they had to do in the initial phase to be even moved to the second round? And when they still haven't interviewed with you, they're still just at the second round of screening.
Yeah. And then little to no accent.
Right.
So
right. You actually be able to have the conversation.
So
I love it.
And to be able to think on your own.
Right. Critical thinking. So how does it compare now? You have your VAs who you're happy with compared to when you were dealing with American locals. 120 at a time is a lot for any individual to manage.
Yes.
That phase. How was that managing 120 people and also in various businesses that you may or may not have had any experience or even interest in?
Yes. I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I would work late. And that's one of the things I had to change. That was my idea. That's what you had to do to be successful. And so, it really wasn't until I transitioned over into short-term rentals that I was like, I don't have to kill myself to be super successful. And, I was like, and then I built out an amazing team that handles things very well. We have a guests first policy, guests come first. That's just our policy, and that's how it happens. And no, everyone asks me, well, are there exceptions? Yes. If I have a guest that comes in and sends me a picture of a cockroach and sends me a picture of, nonsense that it's not even my house and I know it's just made up, then yes, that guest does not get treated the same as a regular guest.
Right. Right, there have to be exceptions.
So that's my dog. Gets that happy every time we come home.
Oh, I love that. There's nothing better than the dog welcome greeting.
I know. Start. Come here. Come here.
Let's see the baby. Oh, look at the face. We got a guest on the show. What's up, Yusuf?
Starkey.
His name's Starkey?
Yeah.
I love it.
Tony Stark.
Yep.
So,
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Well, this has been fantastic. We've covered so much cool stuff. I absolutely love working with you. I love talking to you. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wind down?
No, yeah, follow us at Wishtree. You'll find out all the details of the things coming up. You get to vote on the names and find out about our opening party. You'll be able to see Mike in jail.
For the first time, let's be clear.
For the first time, okay.
Just so that's out there.
Hey, I may or may not have outrun a cop in my life, so.
Excellent. Oh God. And I will say this too for the audience, it would be very helpful to get your votes on these types of things, but even selfishly for you, watching Elle's journey is going to teach you so much. Elle is a fantastic investor. The properties are incredible. It'll just be fun. It's just, I am so glad that I've gotten to meet you and work with you as closely as I have. And John as well. You guys are phenomenal. And I highly recommend people do follow Wishtree B&B on Instagram and everywhere else that you could possibly find Elle. Is there anywhere else? Right now, Instagram is probably your best funnel.
It's the
but
best.
then obviously the direct booking website as well, wishtreebnb.com.
Yes. And I guess we have Facebook as well. I have a social media manager, full disclosure. But, and Instagram, like kind of everything's there. And Facebook, it's like kind of split up by property. So it's just a little easier to follow everything on Instagram.
Perfect. That absolutely works. And yeah, I'll just say befriend Elle Anderson on Facebook and myself, Mike Stone, on Facebook because we are posting and very active and in a lot of the same circles that I'm sure you guys will find this podcast in the first place, you know, through Mike Sjogren, Bill Faith, and a lot of the other industry leaders. So if we could be valuable for you, we'd love to stay connected and just feel free to reach out about anything.
All right. Thanks,
awesome.
Mike.
Thank you, Elle. Such a pleasure.
Bye.